Xavier. Xavier.
Since we know the problem, since we understand the problem, then let's not focus on the problem, let's focus on the solution. Because see, right now, we have the power, we have the ability to create institutions within our own community that we control and that benefits us. We can do that. We can create our own school. We ain't got to keep on complaining about, man, the schools are failing us. Well, we need to create schools in which we can control. We can do that. You know what I'm saying? Just instead of buying the Michael Jordans, let's put away something for our own schools. Instead of talking about how bad the food is and how it's killing us, and it is killing us. Yes, sir. We can get some of this land and we can grow our own foods. We can create our own grocery stores. We can do for self. You know what I'm saying? At some point in time, we got to grow up. And you stop saying, I'm a minority. Minority means you're a minor. That means you're a baby. You're not an adult. But globally, we ain't minorities. We outnumber other people who have been dominating us over 10 to 1. So we need to act like it. Be grown men and women and take responsibility for our community. Because we can do that. Because you come from the greatest people on this planet. We have been through hell and back and we are still here. So don't tell me what we can't do.
Got conversations about life, got conversations about death, got conversations about building a nation, about gaining knowledge of self. Not here to deceive ya, we'll make you a believer. Come build a nation with conversation, with prophecy and Atiba. Conversations between comrades.
Welcome to another episode of Conversations Between Comrades. I am your host, Brother Prophecy, and you know, unfortunately, I'm by myself today, but I said, you know what, the show must go on. I got to continue to try to hold the show down best I can until my comrade is able to come back and join me once again, and we can do that thing together. But that's okay. And I see I got having problems with my equipment, but that's all right. I guess that's better. But yeah, it's okay, because as long as y'all here with me, then we gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly how long I'm gonna be on today. Might just be a little quick video and get on out, because I got a lot of things got to do. But basically, I wanted to talk about a couple of things with everybody, just converse a little bit with everybody. Is the springtime, the weather changing, or weather has changed. Everything, people growing the gardens now. I want to encourage everybody to do that. I'll probably be putting out some videos because that's one of the many things that I do. Is I do a lot of gardening, urban gardening, convert um, lots into community gardens. And like right now, I don't have well, I'm not living in a house right now. I'm kind of in an apartment. That's another story by itself. But so, I haven't been able to do a personal garden, but this year I decided to do a container garden on my balcony. And I'll probably be showing y'all that in the future because it's actually turned out pretty well. And maybe we'll be going over some tips on how to have grow you some food in your own house. Even if you don't have land, a whole lot of land, you can do stuff on your porch, in your house with some grow lights. May do some experimenting with some hydroponics or whatnot. But yeah, But like I said, I am Brother Prophecy. This is Conversation Between Comrades, and we're part of something called the New African Independence uh, movement, New African Independence Movement. That's where we advocate and we struggle for land, independence, self-determination, reparations, and we're trying to establish and create an economic system that is not based on the exploitation of each other. We're not trying to build a society, a nation that is based on everybody trying to get over on everybody else. That's one of the things that's a part of this system is extremely detrimental, and something that we have to learn as we struggled and try to do for self and try to create for self and take control of our communities. Well, once we accomplish our goal, once we control our communities, once we gain self-government, once we gain sovereignty, then we can't simply establish the same type of system that has been oppressing us. We can't just simply move from being the oppressed to the oppressor. That's not what I'm interested in. That's not what we're interested in. What we're interested in creating a better society, a better world, the best one we can. Want to welcome everybody to the show, and if y'all are just checking in, make sure y'all hit a like, man. Give me a like, man. Make me feel good about myself, man. Do something to help my self-esteem, and also share this program with other people. Drop a comment, let us know who we're talking to so we can converse with everybody, and we can properly acknowledge you, and we can have a back and forth. Because like I said, my regular comrade is not here with me today, but that's okay because you're here and we can have a conversation like that. So yeah, so what I want to talk about today briefly. I mean, the topic, what I label is, what should we be doing to move us toward independence? What should we be doing right now to move us toward independence? Because, like I said, we're part of something called the New African Independence Movement. You probably hear us talking about these ideas that are foreign to most people, because we talk about trying to gain land, trying to gain independence, trying to gain, self-determination, self-government, trying to get states, trying to get a independent nation. And to a lot of people, these concepts are foreign because we're not accustomed to doing for self. We're not, the idea that we can govern ourselves and do for ourselves is just a foreign idea because we've been under the domination and hegemony and oppression of an oppressor nation for centuries, for over 400 years. So this idea of independence, just like, it seems kind of scary. It seems kind of like a big idea, and but I mean, I always want to stress, because I think one of the problems or one of the flaws or mistakes that we do in the New African Independence Movement is a lot of times we just go over people's head. We come, at the people, the masses, really too strong and not, explaining, don't do a good job of explaining that this whole idea, this concept of independence, of nationhood, is not something we're trying to just do overnight. Be nice, but that's not You know, that's not how things work. We didn't get in this situation overnight. So we're not going to solve the problem overnight. We're engaged in something called a protracted struggle, a struggle that's going to be over a long period of time, a struggle that we will not complete in our lifetime, a struggle that is already begun, that our ancestors have created a blueprint and left for us. And it is our job and responsibility to pick up the blueprint and carry the struggle on and leave a blueprint, blueprint, an updated blueprint for our children so they can pick it up and carry it on until ultimately conditions will change and evolve to the point where we can gain the ultimate goal of sovereignty, independence. So, you know, I think it's clear to understand that. So with that, then the question is, what should we be doing right now? Where are we? What should we be doing right now? What should be our goals and objectives? What should be our focus right now? Because, I mean, newsflash, you ain't gonna wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden we have control of X amount of states. We're not gonna have control of like a whole nation tomorrow. It's not gonna happen like that. First of all, the conditions are not ready for that. But you shouldn't get frustrated because, like I said, it's a protracted struggle. And there are things that we should be doing right now. There are things that the conditions are ready for right now, that we can seize. We can seize the time right now and advance our struggle. So when our children and our grandchildren pick up the ball, you know, conditions will be, you know, a little riper, a little better. And they can advance the struggle even farther. So what should we be doing right now? What should we be doing to move us toward independence? I think, I mean, personally, I think it's very possible for us with the intellect, with the resources, with everything that we have right now, we should be working toward creating independent or liberated zones within, you know, our communities. Create communities that are liberated zones, and basically that is those are communities that control all of the resources and the institutions that run those particular communities. So you have a community, and within that community, the people of that community control the bank, control the grocery store, control the medical institution, control, you know, all of the institutions that govern your lives, the school system, the politics of that community is all controlled by the people. And ideally, it would be us. This is something that we can do now, but we have to have our minds focused on this. You know, we have to have our energy directed toward this. So the leadership, or so-called leadership, has to get on the same page on this. That don't mean that everybody's doing the same thing, but that means that this needs to be our goal. We don't need to be wasting our time, our efforts, and our energy on things that's not going to bring about real change within our community. We can't be wasting too much time trying to figure out what politician we're going to vote for. You know, we can't focus our worry too much on, you know, well, do I need to be dealing with Satan or the devil? You know, so excuse me, I'm looking at something right there. So yeah, this is what we have to focus on. We have to put our collective efforts into creating liberated zones, independent communities, creating the institutions that govern our lives. Because when you look at it, when you look at our oppression, as the New African Creed says, like our oppression is the result of is because we lack the ability to control our lives. Well, how can we control our lives if we don't control our institutions? Because like I said, when you analyze our oppression, you find that we are being oppressed by institutions. Like I've said before, redlining, that happened because of financial banking institutions along with housing institutions. They pushed our people in certain communities that lacked resources that were necessary for our survivals, which created ghettos and slums in which today you see our poverty-stricken and crime-filled areas in which many of our people occupy. But you know, the miseducation of our people, that happened through school. School is an educational institution. The laws that were created that attacked our people. Legislatures, these are political institutions. Crack cocaine was brought to our community by the CIA. We know that. That ain't even a conspiracy theory anymore. CIA planes have crashed and they found tons and tons of crack, of cocaine, heading straight to the Black community. CIA is a government institution. And we can go on about this or with this all day, because your institutions are supposed to be there to build you up, to support you, to give you the things that you need in your day-to-day lives, to help you reach your highest level of potential. That's what your institutions are supposed to do. But in America, under this system of capitalism, which evolved from chattel slavery, in this particular system, the institutions that govern our lives, new African people, Black people, in the so-called Black community, the institutions that control, that run and govern our communities are used to exploit us. And that's kind of the nature of this system. I should say the nature of the relationship that we have with this system. It is one of exploitation. So that's, my opinion, that should be our focus, creating independent institutions that we can control, so we can control our community and ultimately create liberated zones within our community. And it's like I said, this is a protracted struggle. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. A lot of times, we look at, well, all the institutions that we need, and some of the institutions we need schools, we need medical institutions, we need a community center, we need financial institutions, we need grocery stores, we need farms, and we need a security force. These are the things that we need. And a lot of times we look at that like, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. Can we do all of that? But if we understand science, specifically the science of development, the laws of development, how things develop from one form to another, from one state to another state, then we know that things develop from the simple to the complex. And if we understand that things develop from the simple to the complex, then we know we don't have to start out with some kind of big mega structure, some kind of big institution. It can start small. We don't have to have a big school district with several schools and a gigantic school with, all of these types of things. You can start with homeschool. You can start with individuals who are on the same page, who are already having, have their schools, and we can just build them up. We have a school, the Uhuru Academy. Big ups to Baba Amin. How you doing, brother? Doing great things. Excellent school. excellent school. Hear nothing but good things about it. And it's an online school. You can sign your children up for it now. We have options. So we don't have to start out with a gigantic school. We can start with what we have. Or you can start with a home school. But the key is consistency. Consistency in putting in that work so it can develop from this small to something, from something simple to something more complex, and let it grow into what we need. Because like I said, it is a protracted struggle. We just have to make sure that we are always progressing, step by step by step, brick by brick by brick, until the entire structure is complete. You know, we need our own hospitals, but you don't have to, you know, freak out, be like, man, how are we going to get a hospital? We need millions of dollars for hospitals. We need trained medical workers. We need all of these type of things. Like I said, things develop from the simple to the complex. Start with what we have. Right now, I mean, anyway, we need to reevaluate how we look at our healthcare anyway, because we don't want to create the same type of system that we have right now that basically benefits from individuals who are being sick, that suppress all type of cures and resources that we can have that can give us health, because they can't make money off of it. We don't want to create that. We need to re-examine our healthcare system anyway, especially when we're talking about creating a liberated zone, communities in which we control. So we might need to start where we are. And right now, within our community, we got a lot of people who deal with health. It's not dealing with health on a traditional way. It's not necessarily like doctors who are going to give you pills that have side effects and, you know, so on and so forth, and so on. But you have herbalists, like Dr. Matula Shakur, brother Dr. Kakayi, who was at the Nation Day. Matter of fact, I need to hit him up to have him on the show. He deals with alternative health method. He deals acupuncture, as well as other things, and he deals with mental health. So we start with what we have in our community. Be like, look, you know what? We have an alternative. We have means in which we can keep our community healthy, but we gotta get all of this this food, this creating all of this disease out of our diet. We got to get rid of all of the poison that we've been conditioned to believe we got to have. We got to change the way we think about our health. Start with where we are. I know all type of herbalists. I know, you know, because I was talking to a queen the other day, and you know, I'm actually in negotiations with her to maybe create another show that's centered around health. But we have people who are very knowledgeable about health, who work in the field of health. But we need to support that. We need to have that as a real deal, a real alternative to this so-called medical industry within our community. Be like, okay, look, you got diabetes. We have individuals who are effective with dealing with diabetes. And it ain't about giving you some insulin. It's not about giving you dialysis for 3 days out of the week. And then, I mean, ultimately, as we grow, you know, maybe we will deal with more of the traditional medicine also. So we can have both of them. We can have that option. Because, you know, honestly, because we're so miseducated on health, on how you should eat, how you should treat your body, how you should bring about health. We're so miseducated on that. That's why we're so sick. You look in our community and we're so sick. Everybody's popping pills. Everybody got to take a shot. Everybody got to go to the hospital, got to go to the doctor. Can't do nothing without a pill. But we're so miseducated on that. You know, we gotta change our mindset. You know, and we're so miseducated, and many of us are so sick. Like, honestly, once you get your body into a certain state, you dang near got to go to the hospital. But like I said, in the goal of creating liberated zones and controlling your own institutions, you don't have to start out with a big hospital. Start with what we have. Organize that, support it, and use that as a real resource, a real option to optimize your health. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. A lot of us would be in a better physical condition if we went to individuals in our community who operate under this field of health, of doing things naturally, opposed to just going to the doctor where you're going to get this pill that's going to mess your kidneys up, which ultimately sooner or later you're going to be on that. That's what happened to my mother. That's what happened to my mother. She had high blood pressure. She had some other issues, and she was on so much medication to eventually it blew her kidneys out. It blew her kidneys. It just, you know, and she had to be on dialysis, and that's what took her out. It wasn't any underlying issue that she had. It was the her body's response to all of the medication that she was put on. What's up? I see you out there, Danya. How you doing? I appreciate you checking in. And I gotta come to your comments. I every time I read your comments, I'm a little bit intimidated because I'm like, I hope I'm smart enough to read your comments. No, decolonize our mindset and stop practicing the oppressor's culture. Yeah, man, definitely on that. I'm with you 3,000%. We have to decolonize our mindset. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. You know, when we talk about creating liberated zones are communities in which we control the resources, the institutions, the politics, the economics within those particular communities. You know, we might be 100 years down the line before we get an actual independent Black nation, but we can create institutions now that we control. We can do that. We have everything we need to do that. But you got to do what you just said, Adonia. We have to decolonize our mindsets and stop practicing the oppressor's culture. Because the oppressor will have you to believe that you can't do anything without him. It's impossible for you to do something on your own. It's impossible for you to take your health in your own hands. You need these doctors who got these PhDs so they can prescribe you this medicine that's going to give you this big ass headache. So thank you for that, sister. Let me see. When healthcare is written into infrastructure, health and wellness aren't profitable. Ooh, we see. If you was with me earlier, if y'all was with me earlier, you heard me say we're part of something called the New African Independence Movement, where we advocate for land, independence, self-determination, and the creation of an economic system that is not about the exploitation of everybody. And that last part, a lot of people, you know, just kind of go over their head, you know, they'd be like, we don't know what you're talking about. But when we talking about, we got to change this economic system, that's for real. That's real. You just hit on that. You know, because when health, like you said, when healthcare is written into the infrastructure, health and wellness aren't profitable. And under this current economic system, which is capitalism, anything that is not profitable is like out the door. Not concerned with that. It does not matter. It does not matter if health and wellness will benefit the people, will benefit the masses. The only thing I give a damn about is what can make me money. That's the nature of this system. And it's anti-humane. And we can never, as a people, as a collective people, rise to the highest level of our human potential as long as we are under this economic system. So it's a must. It's a must that we change it. Got to do it, y'all. Got to do it, fam. And I appreciate you conversing with me, Danya. You see, we need to change our minds, organize first responders, and practice a collective struggle toward liberation. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Everything you just said. See, my mother, despite being homeopathic growing up, she chose aggressive radiation and chemotherapy. Sad, man. That's I mean, I feel you, you know, I went through similar things. The experience I had with that, I mean, it's kind of crazy because, you know, my mother, she was diagnosed with cancer and she had a lot of health issues. And she was the type, she would listen to me sometimes, and it was the same pattern. She'll get really sick because she's not doing what she's supposed to be. And I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up in the South. When I was young, I remember going with my father with a shotgun and killing a pig and gutting them up, having them strung up like a pig, like Jesus, and crucifying them and cutting every part of that pig up and eating it. Yep. I mean, I'm a vegan right now, but that's not how I grew up. I grew up as a Mississippi boy, and we ate everything we didn't need to eat. So as a result, people in my family got every kind of disease you want to know, you know, you want to think about. And my mother, she had a lot of health issues. And we had the same pattern. I tell her, I like, Mom, you need to do this, this, and that. You need to focus on this, this, and that. You need to take control of your health. Because all these doctors doing is just giving you more and more pills, more and more medication, and you know, it ain't really making you feel all that better. And she would listen to me. She'd do things that I'm telling her to do, clean up her diet, clean up, you know, start taking alternative things, use other things to regulate her blood pressure. I got her on that black seed oil, because like her blood pressure gets so high, the doctors couldn't do anything. And I'd be like, well, yo, let's try this black seed oil. And her blood pressure would just level off. Just level off. You'd be like, good. My mom would get feeling better, and she'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And once she started feeling really good about herself, go back to those same old habits, those same old ways. And that pattern just kept going on. So yeah, we have to break that mindset. You know, really one of the things that we really need to do is we got to really focus on the children, on the youth. It's harder to really break the habits and the thinking patterns of people who've been doing it for 40, 50 years, been living a certain way for such a long time. But we have to break those patterns with our children. And that's one of the things why. Hold on a second. Huh? What? I don't know what that is. What are you trying to do? You know I'm live, man. Just Democrat, man. You know what it is. It's on Democrat. You know where the thing is, right? Democrat. What time you leave? I'm sorry, excuse me, y'all. I'm a family. I'm a father. I got to do my father thing first. Matter of fact, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a real brief break. I'm gonna come right back. Let me handle this real quick. Appreciate y'all hanging in there with me.
America, full of promises. Time to cash them in. You run from it quick. You never keep your word. I learned from it quick. You keep abusing me. You dumb. Europeans murdered 98% of the indigenous population right here in Turtle Island in order to steal the land. an entire nation of African people were captured and forced into a brutal system of chattel slavery just so they could work and cultivate the land. All wars are fought over land, not over terrorism, not over religion, not even to win the hearts and minds of the people, but for the actual land and the resources within the land. So it is safe to say that land is the foundation to all freedom. So if we truly want to be free, then our struggle is for land. Free the land. I fight for land, independence, and for reparation. We gotta do for self-determination.
Being independent is a very, very good thing because it means that you don't have to be dependent, especially on people who don't like you. I mean, growing your own food, like teaching your own babies our real history, the real truth.
As a people, we are not grown unless we have independence. We are not grown as long as we living under another man's system, operating in his way of things, his laws, and his ordinances that support his rule, actually. So to me, it's not the importance of self-determination and independence. It is mandatory.
We could make a change, get off our ass, do something else. Go get some land together, grow our food and do for self. Create our own.
And when you bring it in, you brought it in for the purpose of weakening the revolutionary tide of the people.
It must not be a capitalist system, but we don't want to exploit anybody. We don't want to be exploited, and we don't want to exploit anybody.
Ain't nobody gonna do it for us. There's nobody outside of yourself, nobody outside of ourselves that's going to do this work for us. We have to put in that real work.
Because the better you are at exploiting people, the more successful you are within capitalism.
We want to say salute to all our political prisoners, our POWs, our elder comrades in exile.
The satisfaction we need as a people only comes through liberation and independence.
Because we're not just building for self, we're building for the family, because the family is broken. We're building for the community is broken. The nation is broken. The race is under attack. We're in a state of emergency.
You're tuned in to the New African Broadcast Association, where we inform, educate, and elevate. Free the land. Never.
Since we know the problem, since we understand the problem, then let's not focus on the problem, let's focus on the solution. Because see, right now, we have the power, we have the ability to create institutions within our own community that we control and that benefits us. We can do that. We can create our own school. We ain't got to keep on complaining about, man, the schools are failing us. Well, we need to create schools in which we can control. We can do that. You know what I'm saying? Just instead of buying the Michael Jordans, let's put away something for our own schools. Instead of talking about how bad the food is and how it's killing us, and it is killing us. We can get some of this land and we can grow our own foods. We can create our own grocery stores. We can do for self. You know what I'm saying? At some point in time, we got to grow up. And you stop saying, I'm a minority. Minority means you're a minor. That means you're a baby. You're not an adult. But globally, we ain't minorities. We outnumber other people who have been dominating us over 10 to 1. So we need to act like it. Be grown men and women and take responsibility for our community. Because we can do that. Because you come from the greatest people on this planet. We have been through hell and back and we are still here. So don't tell me what we can't do.
That's time up in your face, but talk behind your back. Put poison on your name, but who got time for that? Let me rewind it back. Let me remind you that pile of hate you make, see I be climbing that. Everywhere, that's where I'm shining at. I see a better world and I'm designing that. A way to make a difference, you know I'm finding that. So on that next level is where you find me at. They try to tell me
Back, y'all. Sorry about that break. But you know, hey, Just because I got a show don't mean I stopped being a father. But yeah, we was talking about creating liberated zones, the need to create liberated zones. And I was saying that, you know, we have to have our own hospitals, but we don't have to start with a hospital because things develop from the simple to the complex. And we have people within our community, they do, you know, homeopathic work. They do, or that are herbalists, that are into natural cures, natural remedies. And a lot of people, some people frown upon that, but it's an actual science behind it. You know, and I'm not talking about people who try to scheme and try to sell you some snake oil, because under this system of capitalism, you have people who are trying to exploit the situation even within what we do. All they have to do is they just have to find they just have to find out something that will that they can exploit. You know, anything that they can exploit, they will exploit, because that's just what we create. But what you just say? You say, I enjoy listening to you rap knowledge. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, for people who didn't know, the people, that was me rapping. But yeah, so, you know, we was talking about, you know, the medical industry right now. And this is, we, in our efforts to create a new world, a new society, control our own community, we can't do it the same way that these Europeans have done it. We can't do it the same way that it's done under the system of capitalism, because capitalism is based on exploitation, not based on making sure that everybody has the resources that we need to survive. So yeah, I'm trying to go back to some of these comments again. Brother Che, how you doing? It's good to hear from you, Brother Che. I got to get you back on the show. You know, we got some more things we need to discuss. It's a power to the people. So we must be mobilized and organized, and this entails being revolutionary, the educated. Things are getting bad, and we must be on point. That's for real. That is for real, and that's, you know, that kind of feeds into what I'm talking about. You know what? You know, one of the main focuses is to gain control of the institutions, because right now, you know, and I was talking about the medical field, medical institutions. But we also need schools. We got to have schools, because that's going to be part of educating us properly. Because right now our schools indoctrinate us in a way where we act in a manner that helps them better exploit us. That's just the nature of this system, because everything in the system is going to exploit you one way or the other, unless you elevate yourself to the class that you are exploiting other people. So we have to be on point. So we got to create those institutions that are going to produce the type of mindsets that allow us, that will focus us and influence us, and have us making the correct actions. So I'm with you, Brother Che. I'm with you, Brother Che, on that. Danya said, yes, black seed is wonderful supplement. Cumin seed, I take it. Okay. All right. Yeah, and black seed is it is like pretty awesome. I know it worked very well for my mother. My brother, I don't know if he still takes it. I know he did take it, and it was doing some great things for him. It tastes like crap though. I ain't gonna lie. It tastes terrible. And I always tell people, you know, whoever it is who's taking things like that, be like, okay, which is worse? Drinking this stuff that tastes very bad, or being in the hospital taking dialysis 3 times a week, getting poked with shots for insulin, and having heart disease, heart failure, bypass heart surgery, and all these type of things. So, you know, might taste bad, but hey, It's that from the grassroots always. Definitely. So yeah. So like I said, we have to be focused on creating liberated zones, controlling the institutions in our community, so we can control our lives, really, because I was actually listening to some brothers converse today, and one of the brothers was like, do you think we can create like our own city right now? And another brother was like, well, not now, because as soon as we start doing it, we're going to get attacked. And I was just thinking, maybe, I don't know. But then he said, what we can do is create liberated zones. We can take the places where Black people are, and we can try to gain control of the politics, the economics, and the institutions of that community. And I was like, well, you know what? Yeah, that's exactly what I always talking about. So yeah, and it was a point that I actually had. I forgot what it was. I'm getting old. Man, I'm getting old. Birthday is coming up. So y'all remember that. I am a Gemini. My birthday is coming up next week. And I might be going to like I don't know. Usually on my birthday, I like doing stuff like going camping, going, just out in the woods, preferably by a lake or some type of large body of water, and just unplugging, getting away from society, getting away from everything, for a couple of days, and just me, the land, nature. I'm kind of weird like that. Other institutions that we can control, even if we can't just start out with the big mega structure. We can grocery stores, but we can do a grocery store. We can do that. I say grocery store in a farm. We need farmland, because see, I mean, if we're gonna be part of the new African independence movement, we have to be independent. Independent is the key word. You can't say, okay, I want sovereignty, I want my own, but then you can't even feed yourself. One of the worst things you can do is get your independence and realize you're not prepared for independence. So we have to be able to produce our own food. We have to be able to provide for our own people. And it kind of goes right hand in hand with what we were talking about with the medical industry, with the hospitals, with the pills, with, all of these things. Because most of the food, even though America is this richest, most powerful nation, blah, 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 y'all know the rhetoric. But the food quality is extremely low. In America, the food quality is extremely low. My brother, good elder, I should say, by the name of, what is his name? Adon. He's from Somalia. Talk to his brother all the time, and he always tell me, he provides beautiful perspective, because he's always comparing how things are here with what's in Africa. And he look at me like I'm just like, because he said I'm not like the typical Black person who lives in America. He's like, man, well, you have no tattoos, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do these type of things. Like, you're weird, brother. He's like, you find people like that in Africa, but you don't, he from his perspective, he doesn't see many people like that here. So we're really good friends, but he tells me that, like, every time he goes to Africa, just going to Africa and eating the food, he doesn't, go for a specific diet. He eat the same type of foods that he does here in America, but just going to Africa and eating the food, he loses weight. His blood pressure just automatically levels out. His cholesterol just automatically comes into balance. Just going to Africa and eating the food that is provided for him there. He says when he come back to America, he gain weight, go to the doctor, his cholesterol is all out of whack. They're trying to give him medication. He got to exercise and do all of these type of things to try to maintain his health. But yeah, like I said, this brother, just, just says like, man, the food here is bad. It's terrible. It's horrible. Over on the continent, nah, food good. And then he said you don't really have to worry about having money. Say you're gonna eat, you're gonna survive, you're gonna have the resources you need to survive. It's always I always love to talk to people who maybe from somewhere different or have different exposure, are exposed to things that are different than myself, because I like getting different perspectives on things. I love doing that, even if it's something I disagree with. I still like to talk to people, who just have maybe even a different mindset than I do, because I want to understand, okay, where you're coming from. I don't even have to agree with you to understand where you're coming from, because me understanding, okay, why you think like you think, why are you like you are, and that helps me grow, because it helps me to understand another human being, another perspective that's different from my own. And I think that's something we should just practice: objective thinking, critical thinking. And I know that's kind of off subject, but that's just my brother, one of my elders, and he always tell me, just about how things are just so different in the continent. And he said, "Yo, man, I gotta come over there." He also tell me, how they can have more than one wife and all of that type of stuff. And my other buddy from Somalia, he got like 5 wives and all of that good stuff. And he's like, "Yo, you come over there, I give you African wives. Now you can have 3." He said, "I can have 3, but that's another story." Brother Che, he said, "We must understand and realize that we cannot make it under this system. This system is known to exploit and use people, and after that, get rid of them by incarcerating them in concentration camps." That is so, 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 so true. They use us up and then they disregard us, get rid of us, just like they do their technology. Because what's the word they call how they do technology? They plan obsoletus. So I know I'm murdering that word, but it basically they create the technology or products that are created today or that are produced in America under capitalism, only produced to last so long. You can produce products that can last with you using the best material and you in creating it a correct way. You can create things that last damn near forever, but they don't do that, because if you do that, then you can't continue to make money off of it. So when you buy a product, it's only created so it can last a couple of years maybe. So you have to replace it, or it created so a part will break down and then you got to go buy the part. And they do things now where, okay, you got to buy the part from this particular, company so they can make sure they make money. That's not efficient. That's why, right now you got, we have areas that just has electronics, just dumping grounds of disregarded electronics. Not good for the environment, not good for the planet. But that is what capitalism produces. That's why we got to get rid of this shit, y'all. Can't continue to go on like this. You see, Danya, most of the food we eat is dramatic imperialism. Agreed. Definitely agreed. See, Brother Che, we must learn how to be self-reliant as a people. I definitely agree. It's kind of what we're all about, being self-reliant, being able to do for self. And that's one thing you have to understand to really understand this system and the condition and the predicament that we're in. The system has always been perpetuated or ran based on us having to depend upon the system. If you go back to slavery, the period of chattel slavery, they made our ancestors completely dependent upon them for everything. They gave you food, they gave you clothes, they gave you somewhere to stay, gave you the job that you're supposed to do, even though you didn't get paid for the job. Food wasn't about anything. It was some crap. But we had to make it do what it do, and we did. Clothing wasn't about anything. A lot of times children went around naked. They didn't give the children clothes until they was old enough to work. But being dependent upon them and being dependent upon the system was very important in making this system run. And if you study throughout history, as far as new African people, Black people are concerned, anytime we approached any level of real independence, that is when we were most viciously attacked. Anytime we looked like we were headed toward independence, that's when they came down on us. Most people have heard about Black Wall Street. They've heard about Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, when you had that independent Black community, really like the city, that had Black millionaires because they were practicing Black economics. Kind of had to, because we couldn't shop with the white folks. So regardless to whether our mindsets were colonized or not, we had to practice doing for self. Because this European power structure, hey, nah, we want to be separate but equal. See, the flip side of that, the side of that that nobody talks about, is that the separate part was not the problem. The separate part was never the problem. It was the equal. We didn't have the equal access to the same thing they did. But in many cases, we outperformed them. Why? Because for the previous 200 years, we were the workers. We were the ones with the skills. We were the one that built the nation. They didn't know how to do all of these things, so they could not compete with us. But anytime we used our skills and our ability and our know-how to do for self, that's when we were viciously attacked. So you know what happened to Black Wall Street. They dropped a bomb. They had a military strike on a civilian city, an all-Black city, thriving with millionaires, with their own. Black Wall Street was like a form of a liberated zone. You know, you could say that. You could call them a liberated zone, a whole city, because they had their own banks, their own economy, their own stores, grocery stores. They had airplanes. They had everything. Everything they needed to survive, they had. But Black Wall Street is not the only one. There were several all over the United States. One way or another, they were attacked. Sometimes physically with violence, sometimes with policy. But my whole point is, and get back to what you said, Che, when we have to be self-reliant. Once we have achieved a certain level of independence, that's when they attack us. And you have to understand, when the enemy really goes hard on you, then you know you're on the right track. You know you are on the right track. And that's why I say this is a protracted struggle. Because as time moves on, conditions change. And although in 1921, they destroyed Black Wall Street, it ain't 1921 is 100 years removed from there. Conditions have changed. Now, that's not to say that once we create our liberated zones, they still won't attack us. But it's a different condition, different circumstances. So we can't just look back, well, hey, every time we tried it, they attacked us, so we don't need to do it. We just need to get along. No, it's a protracted struggle. We progress this thing. We move it forward. Wait, let me see. Most West African people are lactose intolerant. That's true. You know, I am lactose intolerant. Most New African people, period, are lactose intolerant. And crazy thing is, it's like you kind of force us to drink milk in school. That's like you give us milk every day. You know, on every time we get something to eat, drink this milk. And when most of us are lactose intolerant. You know, even though, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't even know that what it was. I just thought it made my stomach hurt and I had to go to the bathroom real bad. Didn't know it was an actual condition. But that is so true. Let me see. I want to send my comrade salute to Sister Adonia. I do too. Because that sister be on it. No doubt. No doubt. You say your mentor is in Ghana right now. All right. Let me see. Capitalism is capitalism, and we must not fall victims to its grip. All right. And that's the thing, you know, because we have been indoctrinated with a mindset of capitalism. I mean, you go through American system, you can't help but to get indoctrinated within capitalism because it happens every time you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio. You're being indoctrinated in white supremacy, capitalism, imperialism, colonialism, all them things is anti or self-reliance and doing for yourself and being liberated, anti-liberated, liberation, all of those things you're being indoctrinated into. So definitely. Let me see, it's really white people are dependent on exploitation of the diaspora. Man, that's a good point right there. You said something there. Man, I tell this story often. I went to Russ College. I had to speak at a Black History program or something at Russ College. And me, I'm talking about independence, doing for self, all this thing, the same thing I always talk about. You know, one way or the other or another, I'm always gear my conversation toward doing for self. You know, everybody's not at the same level. So, you know, sometimes you got to dumb your message down, but ultimately, I'm going to be talking about us needing to control our communities, you know, some kind of way. But I was at Russ College and I was talking to these students. And I can say, man, it was one of the most disappointing days I've ever had because the response that I got, not from everybody, but from too many, more than I expected, from these college students at a predominantly, a Black college. Russ College is a Black college, a Black school, HBCU. The response that I got was, you know, why would we try to be independent? Because we need white folks. We need white folks. I'm like, for real? Really? Y'all actually think, y'all still think we need white people? Like you haven't read the history? You haven't just looked out into the community? I mean, what do we need them for? To shoot us in the street? To murder us? What do they need us? What do we need them to for? Choke us out on the subway like they did Jordan Neely? To exploit our community? To get rich off of us? Because that's what's happening. You know, the truth of the matter is we don't need them. They need us. Hardcore truth, the reality. And the sooner we realize that, the better off we will be and the faster we will approach our liberation. Because as of right now, we have been, well, in not only right now, but for the last 400 or 500 years, we have been building a nation that does not appreciate us. Well, maybe they do appreciate us, but they definitely exploits us. We've been building a nation that brutalizes us, that oppresses us, that exploits us. So at some point in time, we got to say enough is enough, and we got to use our energy, our finances, our resources, our intellect, all of those things that we have at our disposal, and build up something for ourselves and something we can do for self. So, in other words, Adanya, I'm feeling where you're coming from. You know. You see, the surrounding town was filled with the Black workers who suffered most because they couldn't rebuild. People forget the poor Black people. Yep, that's true. That is so true. That is so true. And like, even because like a lot of times we talk about Black Wall Street. We talk about these independent Black cities that were thriving, but it still was thriving under capitalism. It was thriving under capitalism. That's the one thing we have to understand. That's why we have to know that when we go out and we try to rebuild and reclaim and take back our communities, we can't just, be focused on this capitalist model. We can't do it, because even within Black Wall Street, you're gonna have poor people. You have, poor people, as you talked about, that suffered the most. Let me see. Brother Che, you say, I have never disrespected any sister since I've been a revolutionary for the last 54 years. And thank you for that, brother. I hope you haven't disrespected any sister. That's, that is anti-revolutionary. That's just something we can't be involved in. It blows my mind when I hear sisters talk about disrespect inside the organization or the party, or whatever we are part of. They're supposed to be about the liberation of our people. I can't understand that. It doesn't register with me. That's actually something I need to take more time to actually study, because I know it probably happens more than it should, and it's because it's not my mindset. But anyway, I appreciate you, brother. Let me see what we got. Same. I'm vegetarian, leaning toward veganism. Okay, vegetarian, leaning toward veganism. Yeah, that's dope. Actually, I was talking to a herbalist the other day, Sister Sakura. She's an elder, beautiful sister, young at heart, man. But she was telling me that, when she does consultation, that she does like all type of, gets information about, blood type and the bunch of different stuff about you, because everybody is different, and that some people have a hard time with veganism or even vegetarianism, because they won't necessarily, their blood type or whatever it is. I don't know to have the knowledge that she had. Is not necessarily that diet is not necessarily the best suited for them. So I found that to be really interesting, because I think the better we are at understanding like our health or anything, the more likely we are to be successful in what we're trying to do, including, health. Because like a lot of times people say, I want to be a vegetarian, I want to be a vegan, and I don't necessarily even like to just go by categories or names. You know, I use those words because that's what people understand. You know, I don't eat meat. I'm plant-based. Grow, you know, try to grow as much of my food as I possibly can. But it's a lot of people who, you know, go under the umbrella of veganism and technically are vegans, but are very unhealthy. You know, you eat all kinds of things that you really shouldn't be eating. So I mean, I think I kind of more focus on just being healthy. But I mean, that's dope for you. You know, that's dope for you. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, now you say you were talking about your comrade in Somalia. Thought I'd share my African people. Okay. Yeah, that's my elder. And see, think about it. Elder uh Adan, that's his name. He not even, you know, he's not part of any kind of New African independence movement. He's just somebody I know. And I talk to him and we have interesting conversation. I just like talking to the brother. And it's just amazing that yes, he is a Muslim. Yes, he is a Muslim. It's amazing that how a lot of things that we talk about that we, you know, that we observe, he just can confirm it simply just because he's not from America. And he's able to see things from a different perspective. A lot of times we have analysis on certain things and we read a lot and we intellectualize a lot and we come to conclusions based on our analysis and we say this and that. And then on the other hand, you talk to somebody, be like, yeah, I just live over there and I just see it from a different perspective. It ain't even that complicated. I ain't have to read any books to know this. I just lived it. But yeah, Nanya, he is a Muslim. Hey, brother O'Neill, how you doing? How you doing? You saying shaking my head. I don't know why you shaking your head. I hope you ain't shaking your head at me like, Lord, this black Negro right here just talking stupid. I don't know why you shaking your head. Or maybe we was talking about something sad or jacked up. And you was just like, man, that's so messed up. That's what I'm gonna assume. But how you doing? I'm glad that you are sharing this space with us. They exploit and appropriate, never appreciate, and we don't want their BS anyway. So don't. A revolutionary woman can't be with a revolutionary man. Oh, reactionary. Okay, I'm not reading correct. A revolutionary woman can't be with a reactionary man. Assata Shakur. Woo, that's so true. That's so true. Man, I wish we had access to that queen right there. Assata Shakur, because that's one of my biggest sheroes, man. Like for real. If I ever get the resources, that's the movie I want to do, the Assata Shakur movie, because she is so inspirational. And that's correct. A revolutionary woman can't be with a reactionary man. It just ain't gonna work. Y'all gotta grow together, or you're gonna grow apart. And yeah, definitely. Let me see. I know my blood type is pretty universal. I do know I have calcium deficiency, so I eat mostly raw foods and exceptions with exceptions. You're right. We got to know our bodies. That is so true. Man, that raw food thing, Queen. Shoot, I eat a lot of raw foods myself. I would like to say because I'm just so health conscious, but the truth of the matter is I'm a single dude and I'm responsible for preparing my own food, and I'm not very good at cooking. So I just say, you know what? I'm gonna just make me some raw food dish. I'm gonna make me a salad. I'm gonna put That's why I grow a lot of food, because most things I grow, I just throw it in a salad and keep it moving. But no, it's like something about eating raw food, man, it just makes you feel so good. Like for real, it makes you feel so good. Um, I would say, man, anybody got anything going on with them, go on a raw food fast, but it's a catch with that. Because if you've been eating, you've been eating bad, all kind of garbage for a long time, especially all your life, and then you switch and you just go like all raw food, something happens to you. A lot of times, what happens is your body starts to get adjust. Once you go through this, you're about to go through this stage where you're good. All the foods and the meats and the garbage that's been impacted into your intestines, that's stuck on your intestinal wall, they start to kind of break up and they become toxic in your system. Basically, your body is getting prepared to relieve them, to get rid of them, get rid of all of that, undigested crap that you got, in your colon. But when it breaks up, it becomes active again and you get really, really, really sick. So like when you really, get your diet down and you eating really healthy, before you just get really good, a lot of times you get sick and you go through that and then you're good. It's like you don't, but yeah, I love eating raw. It's that's the move. Yeah, true, man. Okay, that's what you mean. True, man. Some vegans eat just as much processed foods. Yep. Yep, that's why I say I don't necessarily I say I'm a vegetarian or a vegan or whatever, simply, because people understand it, just for communication purposes. But I don't necessarily just go by titles. I just say, okay, I want to eat healthy. I want to be healthy. I want to be the best version of myself that I can be. Uh, cause like one of my goals is on my 50th birthday, which is about a year, almost exactly a year away. I want to be able to take my shirt off and not have people go, put it back on, please. So that's one of my goals. When I was 40, when I turned 40, my goal was to be able to go to the gym and outwork everybody in the gym. When I turned 40, that's what happened. I went to the gym and I was just killing them. I wasn't even trying. I was just working out, like I normally do because I guess, at my late 30s, I kind of went through a midlife crisis and I started doing a lot of MMA stuff and training like ridiculously hard. And I wasn't even training in the gym. I was training in my backyard with some more people and we was like training martial arts and doing all kind of crazy stuff. So by the time I went back to the gym, my cardio and conditioning was just, I was used to going so hard that, man, in 10 minutes, I had worked every machine in the whole gym. And I had people looking at me like, man, what that dude doing? Like, damn. So, yeah. But anyway, enough about that. Sometimes what people say, it's taken out of context. However, there are or have been some so-called revolutionaries who have abused and mistreated sisters in words or in deeds personally. I don't play that role, but I have seen it and I read about it. Man, that's interesting. Like I said, every time I hear about that, it kind of just, I don't know, it mess me. I mean, it saddens me, but I guess it shouldn't because we all are work in progress. And, even though we might read some books and we might um, try to decolonize ourselves, deprogram ourselves as much as we can, we are still products of this colonial system. We are still products of the colonial mindset. And we have to always constantly be cleaning out our minds and getting rid of um, these tendencies, these ideas, these concepts that we have been indoctrinated into while being in America. So You see, I prefer out of American perspectives. We tend to look through a bourgeois lens. I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. My Shiro too, beautiful sister, talking about Asada Shakur. You see, meat is so bad for your colon. It surely is, child. um, you're definitely will purge the bad, but there's an ugly phase for some people. All the addictive and steroids, they feel our foods will. Man, that's real. That's another good point. That's another good point because a lot of times, because I'm also a survivalist. Dang, I do a lot of different things. But yeah, I'm also a survivalist, and I go train. Man, I got a Holly Babalu Carter too. Dang, I just remember that. A lot of times I tell people, like, if you're in a situation and you got to bug out, you got to be in the woods for a while. A lot of problems that people don't think about is um, we've been eating so much bad food that has all these chemicals and all type of things in it that we're actually addicted to, and we don't realize we have addictions. And when we stop eating them for a couple of days, a lot of times you're thinking you're going through, you're getting your headache and you're feeling bad. You're thinking that it's because of hunger. But actually what's going on is you're having withdrawal symptoms from all of the toxins and the chemicals that you've been accustomed to putting into your body. So, that's real talk. That's real talk right there. You see, you look great, comrade. Oh, stop it, stop it. Um, I have some baby weight to lose, but I'm focused on feeling good. I'll be 40 in July. Oh, welcome to the club, Queen. Welcome to the club. July. That mean you a Leo? Is that what you are, or something else? But yeah, but thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm trying to be all right. So yeah, man, hey, you doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Just keep focused on the goal and one step at a time. For anybody who really trying to, whether it's trying to lose weight or just trying to be overall healthy, I say don't take a gorilla approach to that. A lot of times we say, okay, we get this crazy diet and we just go try to quit everything cold turkey, go head foot first, and you'll be doing good for a while and you fall off, and when you fall off, you fall way off. I always tell people, analyze what you're doing. Get you a folder or something, write everything that you're eating, how much you eat, whenever you eat, whenever you put something into your mouth, piece of bubble gum, anything, just write it down, write it down. And after a week or two, you will notice a pattern. You'll be like, oh man, every day I go by the snack machine and I get a donut, or I do this, I do that. You'll see patterns and you'll see opportunities where you can do better. So I always say, once you get that pattern and you see your schedule and you see what you do, then you just pick one thing you do every day, one unhealthy thing, and replace it with something healthy. Instead of going to get that cupcake or that donut or those potato chips, get an apple, a banana, a fruit or something, some grapes. And you do that for a while. And then after you got good with that, try something else. Let me pick out another unhealthy thing I do. Let me get rid of that. You do it gradually. If you do it like that, I find that you have better results, better longer lasting results, opposed to just trying to do everything all at once. And you do everything all at once, what will usually happen is you'll lose weight like quick, and then you'll end up falling off. And when you fall off, you'll gain more weight than you even lost because your body has a set weight. And when you lose weight really, really quick, your body is interpreting that something's wrong. You're losing too much weight too quick. So your body tries to get back to that set weight. And when you fall off and you eat just what you used to eat, them calories affect you differently. You actually put on more weight than you would normally even have. So, anyway, just some little advice. We are damn sure part of a white T-cellular colonial construct. The negative contradiction within the system have impacted all of us. Damn right. Damn right on that, for real. And I think, being aware of that is really important. That is really important because if you're not aware of what you're doing, you can't correct it. You can't improve upon it. And that's really something we have to be serious about. I always say in any kind of formation that I'm dealing with, I'm about putting together. One of the first courses we're gonna have is a class on criticism, self-criticism. How to accept and give criticism constructively. Because we're not perfect. We're all striving to improve ourselves. And that is a lifelong journey. You will never stop improving yourself if you are serious about, what we need to do. We're never going to get to the point where we're perfect. Just not going to happen. So, See, a few months ago, Brother Che, I was assured by a Chicana sister of what I'm talking about. So I stopped talking to her because she displayed her ignorance. And as an Attica brother, I left the situation in checkmate. Okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Can you give me some clarity on that? Because it sounds interesting, but I'm just not sure. Probably I was talking about something specific when you wrote that, but I don't remember what we were talking about. So yeah, I would like to hear more about that, Brother Che. Let's see, Don, you said, like Chairman Miles said, self-criticism is important. It is very, very important. Just like having the mindset to know that our struggle is more important than our egos. The struggle is more important than our egos. Nobody likes to be told, hey, you're not perfect. You can do this better. But if you condition yourself, and it's something that I find, is kind of working for me, because I've just kind of trained myself to, when I hear someone who says something in opposition of what I think or what I'm even saying, I kind of get excited. And I've been noticing just in my day-to-day lives when somebody, say, well, but what if, whatever and stuff like that, I'll be like, oh, really? Okay, tell me more, because I look at it as an opportunity to grow, to learn something different, to better myself. At least to just hear a different perspective. A lot of it is just how you think, how you look at something. Like it can be the best day of your life or the worst day of your life. Just depend on how you look at it, really. So I don't know. It's just, I found like since I've been thinking like that, I get excited when somebody disagrees with me. It's kind of crazy, but it works. Can't be too proud to be wrong about something. Amen, sister. Cannot be too proud to be wrong about something. That is so correct. So correct. And we can't be too offended by things when somebody tell you, hey, might not be correct about this. Might be a better way than, how you're thinking. Got to be open to that possibility. Have to be open to that possibility because that's an important part of growth. Anytime like struggle is an important part of growth. Without, who was that? Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. You know, when I first heard that, I didn't understand until I started studying dialectical historical materialism. I realized, oh, damn, that's how everything progressed forward through a struggle, through unity of and struggle of opposites, through contradictions. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You know, there are disagreements because contradictions are in all things. We will never be contradiction free. We will never be a point where everything is just, oh, everything's, you know, it's just, everything's all perfect. Because as soon as one contradiction is resolved, another one emerges and takes its place. That's the nature of development. When that stops happening, that means you're dead. And there's still some contradictions gonna be going on because, anyway, I'm finna drop charge getting into science. But yeah, that's like everything progresses like that. Oh, okay. You said, I believe in self-criticism, but she didn't. She refused to engage in criticism. Definitely. Okay, okay, yeah. So yeah, you did the right thing, comrade. You did the right thing. If you dealing with somebody who can't do self-criticism and they're not at least trying to grow to a point where they can and they can get on the same, y'all get on the same page, then yeah, that's like a good that is not a good recipe for a successful relationship. Shout out to Comrade Atiba. Man, I miss my homie. I miss my comrade right there. One of my teachers in dialectical and historical materialism. That's right, man. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret, something, you know, that I've just observed. People who study dialectics or materialism, and really just people, really what it is, people who are just critical thinkers. I get along with them so much better. I get along with them so much better because sometimes, you know, we deal with people who are more about idealism and emotionalism and all these other things, and you know, and that's big within our community, in the so-called conscious community, because a lot of people came through their consciousness through idealism, and they're not taught to think critically. They're taught to believe that, you know, your solution is going to come from floating down out of the sky. I don't want to get this too deep into like maybe a religious discussion, but I just find a lot of times when I'm dealing with people who think like that on a day-to-day basis, it's really frustrating, you know, because a lot of times there are solutions that are right there, and I'm wondering, why in the world can't you see the solution? It's right there in front of your face. You just gotta pick it up and go with it. They can't see it. It's like everything else, you know. I can't see it. I need to go float into outer space to try to come up with the answer. Like, no, you don't. It's right there. That's why every time I talk to Tiba, when he called me on the phone before we even started this program, when he called me, and within 5 minutes of conversation about whatever we got going on, I'd be like, man, it's so good to talk to you, brother. You don't know what I've been dealing with, man. You don't know the type of conversations I've been having. So yeah. Big shouts out to Atiba. Big shouts out to Atiba. Let me see. Some aren't willing, and that's okay. Leave it alone, or it can bite you in the ass. That's true. And I'm glad you said that, Adon. You know what I'm saying? Be like, some aren't willing, and that's okay. It's okay, you know, and that's a lesson that I have to learn, that everybody doesn't think the same way. And like you said in another comment, there are levels of consciousness, and I just got to understand that, you know, and I have to realize that, you know, and I can't be so in my own head where I'm like, damn, man, you can't see this. What the hell wrong with you? No, you know, it's okay. So yeah, thank you for that. See, criticism is like washing your face and taking a shower. That's a good way to put it. That is really a good way to put it. And man, I'm just like real talk. You know, if we engage in criticism, self-criticism, and made it a part of a practice, you will learn so much. You will learn a lot. You know, just going through after you did something and just going through it and seeing all of the things that you could have done better, the things that you did well, and the things that you could have done better, and just writing them down and just becoming aware of these things, then you learn that your capacity to learn just goes up. Because a lot of times we make the same mistake over and over and over until it blows up in our face. We don't realize we're making a mistake until it like something bad happens. You know, we're doing something, should be doing it a different way. I could be doing it better, but we don't realize that because it didn't just, it didn't just emerge in a detrimental way. Got away with it, and then you don't realize, okay, I need to stop doing that until it really just blows up. So yeah. See. I miss Atiba hearing his laugh, listening to him say, no doubt, no doubt. That's a Memphis thing. It's something that is authentically Memphis, man. I don't really, say it that much because I'm actually not from Memphis. And sometimes I'll be like, man, I got to get my Memphis accent on. I'm from Mississippi. You probably can tell because when I get to talking, that Mississippi just come out of me. See, I get it. It's frustrating, but we all woke up at different points in our lives. Very true. Very true. A lot of that can be BS or unresolved trauma. Is familiarity. You see, we need to see that everything in life has its opposites. See, there you go, talking that dialectic stuff again. But that's true. That is true. That is absolutely true. There are contradictions in all things, and understanding how to embrace that, opposed to just letting it freak you out or getting frustrated by it, allows you to progress on a different level. Allows you to move forward on a different level, and actually allows you to control outcomes and predict future. That's why I was given the name prophecy. Simply, I was just looking at the competing forces, and I said, "Oh, damn, this is the leading forces on this thing, and it looks like this is the direction things are going in." And I just made a couple of predictions. People are saying, "Damn, man, you a damn prophet." And that's actually before I even understood dialectics. I was just looking at way things are going and just saw pattern. Like you say, yeah, patterns. Analyzing patterns and seeing the forces and I love Southern accents. You really? I mean, really? Because when I hear myself talk, I'll be like, oh, no, Because I'll go back and forth because sometimes, because like I went to college and did the whole collegiate thing. So a lot of time people at home be like, no, you don't talk like us. You don't talk like us. Then people away be like, man, you country hell. You country hell, dog. Yes, we must heighten them. And you talking about the contradictions, I'm guessing. That's why nothing is absolute or everlasting. Very true. Very true. That's another thing that's real that kind of bothers me. Because a lot of times we deal in absolutes. We don't understand the nuances of a situation. We don't deal with the nuances of a situation. It's either this way or it's that way. That's why I like listening to other perspectives. I love listening to other perspectives, even the ones that I disagree, really, especially the ones that disagree with me. Because one of my favorite things to do is to listen to or have a conversation with someone who has a critical mind and shares or don't share or have an opposite perspective than I do. I love doing that because they're gonna give an honest critique and they're gonna point out things that I might miss, from a perspective, because they're coming from an opposite perspective. And I know that, okay, if I can deal with their critiques and I can deal with their criticism, I'm gonna be super on point, because if we just talking to people that agree with us all the time, then my bias is your bias. And we just allowing them biases to slide and they don't get checked. But if you're talking to somebody who has an opposite perspective, then that bias gets pointed out. You can't, that bias, and you ain't gonna let that go. And it forces you to check that, So if you get someone who's like intellectual and a critical thinker and they think differently within you, and you have that conversation, you go through that conversation, and out of that conversation, you dealt with all of the critiques and all of their analysis, and you be like, oh, okay, I see where they're coming from, I see where they're from, and then you analyze it and you figure it out, and man, your position becomes stronger. You become stronger. So yeah, but that's just me. Most people don't like that. Most people hate hearing people who have a different perspective than they do. Just be like, it's just like they don't want to hear it, even though they have points. It's positive and negative in all things. Nobody is 100% wrong. I've listened to people who are in the Ku Klux Klan, and I found like, damn, okay, I see where you're coming from on that particular point. I disagree with, all this other stuff, but I see what you're saying right there. And I actually understand how you derive your ideology. And now that I understand that, I understand you, and I actually understand how to attack it and how to defeat it more efficiently. You see, a brother or sister with a Southern accent is endearing to me. My people from Louisiana, 2 generations back. I hear you. Now, my accent is not as deep as the brothers and sisters from Louisiana. I ain't even gonna lie, man. Louisiana, they got some real charming accents. They do. I was in a grocery store the other day, and this sister from Louisiana, and I was like, oh man, so I'm with you on that. I was once in Mississippi. Sorry for the misspell. You was once in Mississippi. Okay. How was your experience in Mississippi? Because I was in Mississippi more than once. I was in Mississippi for like 28 years? Real long time. You see, have some fam from Mississippi too. Talk lineage. Hey, everybody have family in Mississippi. Are you from Chicago, Adanya? Because I don't know if I read that you were from Chicago because he's like, I don't know if it's maybe they had, the railroad just ran from like Mississippi to Chicago up in that area, because crazy thing is, like, I know so many people from Chicago. Like, so many, even when I go up to Chicago, I like see people who actually from the little bitty small town in Mississippi that I'm from, which is crazy. So yeah, it's like, and even like at the college that I was telling you about, Russ College, which is in my hometown, Holly Springs, Mississippi. The majority, I can't say the majority, but a good percentage of people who goes to that school from Chicago, and mainly because it's a school that's accepting to everybody. It's not hard to get into. So if you are from the city and you running from the cops, you know, a lot of parents just send you down to Russ College and send you to school because Russ College is going to accept you. One thing that I do like about their college is not like a big university. It's more like a family. They do check on you and stuff. You know, I went to the University of Mississippi, and that shit was a business. You went in a class of a whole bunch of people, and you was just a number. But I learned a lot about things at University of Mississippi, aka Ole Miss. Yeah, Heart of Dixie, rebel flag wearing, waving Ole Miss. That's what I went to school. That's back when they had the rebel flag. It's their official flag, and the Colonel Reb, the rebel general, was the mascot. And the school song was the Heart of Dixie. Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Da, 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 da. Yep. That's school I went to, but that's actually where I found my consciousness, at Ole Miss, because I met real white folks, like white folks who children made more money than everybody in my family. White folks who was unapologetically white. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic right there. So I went there to get in a rally against the KKK. Man, you serious, ain't you, man? That's one thing I've never done. I've never went to a KKK rally. Growing up in Mississippi, I ain't gonna lie, that's something I really wasn't trying to encounter, the KKK. I think I ran up to one of their, well, it wasn't a rally, it was one of their, you know, on whatever they do, because it was like I was driving, I went down this place that I usually don't go, and I saw some fire and a whole bunch of people. That's all I needed to see. I turned around. You know, for real. The Deep South crackers are a different kind, man, for real. You ain't lying about that. Let's see. How'd you know Chicago is a great big Mississippi? Yeah, I mean, it's just experience, you know, it's like literally, like, you know, the times that I've went to Chicago, I've like always ran into somebody from my hometown, you know, which is just crazy because my hometown is little. It's small, and Chicago's not little. It's cold as hell in Chicago in the wintertime, man. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, definitely. Chicago is a great big Mississippi. Let's see, Southern roots. Many of us have them from northern migration during industrial area. That's so true. That is so true. That is definitely true. And I see that because, like, down at the school, Russ College that I'm talking about, like when I was in high school, a senior, junior, senior in high school, I was always the dude who used to like to go to the college to talk to the college girls. You know, I thought that made me cool or whatever. Just I wasn't cool enough to deal with the high school girls, but I could maybe deal with them college students. That's an interesting dynamic because, see, like, I don't know if you realize this, but I'm you know, highly melanated, real dark skin, and like in Mississippi when I was in high school, it people hadn't caught on to this it's cool to be dark skinned, a dark skinned man. Oh, that's a sex symbol type thing. It wasn't like that when I was growing up in high school. That didn't happen until like down in college somewhere in Mississippi. So, you know, I had a big self-esteem issue about being so dark skinned from growing up there. But when I went to Russ College, and it was like so many women who were from Chicago and then New York and different New Jersey and different like East Coast and up north, it was like they was crazy about dark skinned dudes. It was crazy. You know what I mean? You know, we got that colorism issue anyway. But I mean, it blew my mind. And that's the reason why I used to like going to college all the time, because women thought I was cute. And so yeah, that's why I used to hang out at Russ College all the time. But my whole point was when I used to go to Russ College, it was like we left the South because the culture of the college was kind of dictated by Northern students, mainly Chicago. And that was during the time where that Chicago house music was just like big. They all that stuff, and people just dance until you about to fall out. So yeah, it was like a whole different culture, different vibe, different everything, a different accent, different way people dress was different. And I was influenced by that. I was like this Southern dude, but I was influenced by a lot of Northern styles, and I had friends that was all from New York and Chicago and all these type of things. So me as a high school student. Yeah. But no, but yeah, but yeah, definitely there's that connection between um between the southern cities and the northern cities from that whole migration from the industrial area. It still exists today. What you say? Work it, twerk it. You funny, man. Get out of here. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Mississippi is a notorious segregated school. Oh, that's real true. Man, don't get me started on that because we already been talking damn near 2 hours. And I say I won't even gonna be on here that long. See, Adunya, you just making me talk and talk and talk. You too, Che. But no, that's correct because when my freshman year, we had this class called University Studies. And in that class, first day, they was saying how much the school had diversified, how we had so many women now, and it used to didn't have that many women, and how we have so many black students now, and and all of this type of thing. This was like 1992. And after they told about how diverse it had become during the time period, I remember this because it kind of shocked me. He said, the next statement, he said, but by far, Ole Miss is a school of white males. Basically, that's not how he said it, but that's like what he said. Because he was like saying, we got so many black students, we got so many women and other so-called minorities, but at the end of the day, it's still a white school for white males. He said that in so many words, and that blew my mind. I was like, what the, I could talk about Ole Miss all day. The experiences that I had down there all day, very eye opening. It really helped me with my perspective now, because it's one thing, understanding, being taught that the system of white supremacy, what it is, and the whole ideology of white people being superior is BS and all of this type of stuff. But growing up where I grew up, that was drilled into our heads. It was drilled, you're inferior. You black folks, y'all. And it's still like when I go down there, that's, I love going to see my family, but it's like certain elements I'd be like, I can't deal with this no more, this mentality, But I mean, I may need to just go down there and relocate because needed down there. But when you're taught that and you're indoctrinated into white supremacy all your life, you believe it, even if you get, knowledge and information that contradicts that and prove that, oh, that's BS. Still deep down, you kind of believe it. Well, it was at Ole Miss being eye to eye with the whitest of white folks, the people who gonna go, rule the country. Governor probably was my classmate. Well, being eye to eye and recognizing that they fear you, and it's not because they fear you're going to do something violent, but they fear your mind, they fear who you are, they fear your ability, and especially when you see who they are, there ain't nothing special about them. There ain't nothing to be equal to. And I'm not trying to, say, oh, bad white people or anything like that. I'm just trying to share my experience. When you actually see that for what it is, you realize that this whole system of so-called white supremacy is full of bullshit. You know, you see it for yourself. It's different from reading something in the book. And that really helps to free your mind from colonized thinking, even though, you know, we always decolonizing ourselves. See, I always dated older in high school too. Usually guys in college are older. I feel you on that. Most women do. You know, that's most women do. And you know, now when I think about it, man, you're gonna open up a rabbit hole because I remember like some foul stuff. Cause I know like in junior high, I remember girls who would date grown ass men, you know, because you know, people always talk about like R. Kelly, what R. Kelly did and all of this type of thing, which is, you know, my opinion, terrible. But that type of thing was common. You know, and I just remember, you know, like in like seventh grade, the girl ain't gonna call her name, but her boyfriend coming to pick her up, you know, and take her back to her apartment, his place, and all of these type of things. But anyway, I know that way ain't what you talking about. But I get you. It's just you just made me think of that. Um, You see, I hate to make this sound like a fetish, but dark skin is the most beautiful to me. Oh, you know what have done you? I'm trying not to touch that. I'm trying not to go there. But I mean, I think dark skin is beautiful. And just, you know, I guess to keep, you know, continue to probe into my psychology, my mindset. Um, when I completely had a colonized mind, I couldn't even see dark skinned women. I could not see them. It just was like they were like invisible to me. And that's like crazy. But I could not appreciate the beauty of a dark skinned woman. And that's crazy because like it's like once I gained some knowledge of self, learned about my history, learned about my culture, began to deprogram myself and decolonize my mind, it's like I was like, damn, where she come from? Like, whoa, it's like I saw how beautiful dark skin is. And I'm like, damn, you know, and it's like I see things completely different, you know. So hey, I think dark skin is beautiful too. You see, it was a rally in a way, but it was more a demonstration against the Klan. Back then, I was deep into my martial arts. Oh, Tiger Claw. So I was ready for those Klan. I feel you, bro. Tiger, see, man, that's what I'm talking about, Shay, man. I'm deep into martial arts too. Love martial arts still. I've studied Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, Judo, what's that? Karma, however you pronounce that Israeli fighting, man. Those the four main ones that I've studied, and then it's different ones that I kind of learn little techniques from because I also teach it. You know, the different comrades I do. You know, I'm usually over the self defense. I do a whole lot of stuff. I remember, like, dang, I do gardening, self defense, and podcasting. It's all good, but I feel you. I feel you. See, the school even sounds racist as hell. It was. Probably still is, but definitely when I went, yeah, it was, man, I can just it's so many um racist incidents. And like me growing up with the town that I'm from is majority African. And I found a place where you have a lot of, you know, African Black people. You actually find that those are some of the most racist situations because your numbers is a threat. Just the fact that you have a lot of numbers is a threat. So the white power structure feels the need to suppress or oppress you even more to make sure that you stay in line. But yeah, the man, what I was talking about. Yeah, that school varies. I could, you know, it's a lot of incidents that I can remember. I also remember beating the hell out of a white dude too. I do remember that. Yep, we did that shit, dude. Well, shouts out to my partner Lamar and Mike from Oxford. I don't even know if I should share that incident, but it happened. Let me see. Then you said R. Kelly actually did hang around the high school in McDonald's where high school girls work. You are right though. Looking back, it was problematic as hell for me to date grown men. Mhm. I mean, that opens up a real conversation, like a real like deal conversation that's interesting to me. I don't want to get into it because it's gonna take us into a whole different area. So I ain't gonna get into it, but yeah, that that it's just that's something I think about a lot because it was common. It just in my experience, it was I never did it because like I said, I used to like the college women, you know. But I can one of the reasons why I gravitated toward college women because like so many older women were after the high school girls that I was like, man, I can't compete with a guy with a car and a place, I'm on my bike. I got a 10 speed, I can't take no girl, nowhere out on my 10 speed. College, they got a dormitory. And my sister went to Russ College too. So I was always cool with her friends. Her friends were always coming over to the house, my house. Anyway, but yeah, with that R. Kelly, actually when I visited Chicago, my brother in Chicago brother, what's his name? Oron. How you doing, Oron? He a poet in Chicago, dope poet too. But yeah, he was giving me a tour of the city. He was like, man, this high school right here, this is where R. Kelly used to camp out at. This was before the documentary came out, but he showed me the high school and he was like saying, some reason, man, the girls, they'll just be extra thick or something. That's what he said. I don't know. You see, I appreciate your honesty because we're taught to only see our sisters and brothers who have proximity to proximity up to whiteness, aka light skin. I feel you on that. I mean, I went through that whole thing because man, I used to hate being my color. Man, I used to hate it with a passion. True story. I think I probably told this story once. Um, and I only told it here online. But yeah, it's like when I was young, I I had this dream that I had a family. I was in my living room in which I grew up, but I had a family. I had a wife. I had children, and I was white. They was white. All of us was white, and we was happy. And I didn't think about it until like later on. As I grew up, I didn't think about it. You know, um, but in that dream, I equated whiteness with being happy. That's what it was. It was like I thought in my mind, and I was really young then, I thought being happy was synonymous with being white. It's crazy. And when I was younger, I used to think light-skinned girls, oh, they're so pretty, pretty. And then now, um, I can appreciate all women, the beauty in all women. That's true. I have preferences, but I can appreciate, women, the beauty in all women. And just to be honest, as I've grown mentally in my intellect, as I've grown, I've find a woman's mind is far more attractive than any external beauty, period. So it's like I'm kind of, I guess what you call a sapiosexual. That's someone who is attracted to intellect. Not only attracted to the intellect of women, as far as that, but it's like a real turn on to me. Intelligence is really sexy to me, like for real, So, you know. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, let's see. Atiba is into martial arts, man. I miss him on here. I do too, man, because that's something we always talk about, man. We talk about martial arts, and I see you got to go. Actually, I got to go too, man. I've been on here for 2 hours. I appreciate y'all talking to me. Y'all made this experience really enjoyable to me. But I'm about to get out of here. Y'all stick with us, and Atiba, he will be back on eventually. Just understand we appreciate everything y'all do and all of the conversations y'all have, and every week y'all keep showing up and showing out. And I thank y'all, and we're gonna continue to get it on. I ain't gonna lie. At some point in time, I'm probably gonna take a little mini break because I need to go to the woods and deprogram, decompress and unplug for about a week. But I'll let y'all know before I do that. Love you too, sister. I love all of y'all, man. Thank y'all for doing what y'all doing and making this possible. I will see y'all again probably in a couple of days on another show. Voices of New Africa. Yeah, I'm gonna do that Sunday. But y'all just keep on hanging in there with us. Keep on providing that perspective. And yeah, free the land, y'all. Free the land.
America, full of promises. Time to cash them in. You run from it quick. You never keep your word. I learned from it quick. You keep abusing me. You dumb.
Europeans murdered 98% of the